The yellow bus screeched to a stop, making Sophia grip her school bag tighter. She squeezed through the crowd of passengers and stepped onto the cracked sidewalk. Ahead of her, Oceanview International College stood tall, its white buildings clean and grand. The school gate stretched high, as if separating the students inside from the busy, noisy city outside. She took a deep breath, adjusting the straps of her worn-out bag. She had fought hard for her scholarship. She had spent long nights studying under candlelight, skipping meals to buy books. She belonged here. At least, that's what she told herself. The moment she stepped onto school grounds, she felt it. The stairs. Sleek cars filled the driveway, dropping off students in crisp, custom-made uniforms. Girls with perfect hairstyles and boys wearing the newest sneakers walked with confidence. "Who's that?" a girl near the fountain whispered, eyeing Sophia up and down. "The scholarship girl," another voice answered. Sophia swallowed hard. Of course, they already knew. A group of students laughed nearby, their voices filled with confidence and entitlement. At the center stood Kimi, the most powerful girl in school. With her flawless braids, gold wristwatch, and effortless grace, Kimi looked like she belonged in a magazine. She turned, her sharp eyes landing on Sophia. For a moment she just stared. Then, with a slight raise of her eyebrow and a toss of her braid, she dismissed Sophia's entire existence without saying a word. Sophia exhaled slowly. She was used to being ignored, but something about Kimi's look made her stomach twist. Classes began, and Sophia focused on her work. She ignored the quiet laughter when she raised her hand, the side glances when she wrote in her old second-hand notebook. Every whispered comment tried to push her into the background, but she held her ground. Then came chemistry class. The teacher walked around the room, handing back graded tests. When Sophia received hers, her breath caught. 95%, the highest score in class. A small smile formed on her lips. Across the room, Kimi's eyes narrowed at her own paper. Her reaction was subtle, a slight crease in her forehead, a tightening of her lips. But Sophia saw it. As class ended, students packed their bags, heading for lunch. Sophia reached for her books, but a folded note had appeared on her desk. 4 words. "You don't belong here." Her fingers tightened around the paper. A chill ran down her spine as she looked up. Across the room, Kimi stood by the door, watching her with a slow, knowing smirk. Sophia's heart pounded. She expected whispers, maybe cold stares, but this was a warning, and something told her it was just the beginning. Sophia barely ate lunch. The note sat heavy in her mind. She found a seat at the far end of the cafeteria, away from the noisy tables filled with students laughing and chatting. As she poked at her food, she overheard a loud voice from across the room. "I'm bored," Kimi said dramatically, tapping her fingers on the table. "We need something fun." Sophia's stomach twisted. Something about Kimi's voice sent a chill down her spine. "Like what?" Trina, one of Kimi's closest friends, asked. Kimi's eyes drifted across the cafeteria, straight to Sophia. "Let's make a bet," Kimi said, her voice smooth. Her group paused. Even Bode, the loudest of them, looked uneasy. "What kind of bet?" Trina asked. Kimi smiled, slow and confident. "I give it a month before the scholarship girl quits." Silence. Then Funmi, another girl in Kimi's circle, let out a nervous giggle. "Kimi, that's mean." Kimi leaned forward. "What? It's not my fault she doesn't fit in. This school isn't for people like her. And trust me, by the time I'm done, she'll know it too." Trina hesitated. "And if she doesn't leave?" Kimi shrugged. "Then I lose, and you all get a shopping spree on me." That got their attention. The group exchanged glances, a challenge, a prize, a game. Bode smirked. "And what do you get if she does leave?" Kimi's gaze locked on Sophia. Satisfaction. Laughter erupted. Sophia couldn't hear every word, but she felt it. The way their heads turned toward her, the way Kimi's gaze never wavered. Something was happening. She just didn't know what. Sophia didn't know exactly what Kimi had planned, But she knew one thing for sure. The game had begun, and she refused to lose. The next morning, Sophia walked into school with a determined expression. The weight of the previous day sat on her shoulders, but she wasn't going to let Kimi win. If Kimi wanted her to leave, she'd have to try harder than a few mean words. She went to her locker, ready to start the day, but as she opened it, her heart stopped. A thick envelope lay on top of her books. Slowly she picked it up, unfolded the flap, and gasped. Inside was a stack of cash and a note. "Take this and disappear. You don't belong here." A murmur rose around her. Students who were nearby noticed the money and started whispering. Sophia's hands trembled as she crushed the envelope in her palm. From down the hall, laughter rang out. Sophia turned her head and locked eyes with Kimi, who stood among her group, smirking. This was her first move. The humiliation burned, but Sophia refused to let it show. With slow, deliberate movements, she stepped to the nearest trash can and threw the entire envelope inside. A hush fell over the crowd, then gasps. Kimi's smile faltered for half a second before she covered it up with a scoff. Sophia turned to her, voice steady. "I'm not for sale." And with that she walked away. By lunchtime, the story had spread through the school. Some students whispered about Sophia's boldness, impressed by her courage. Others laughed, saying she was stupid for throwing away free money. But one thing was clear, Kimi wasn't laughing anymore. At her usual cafeteria table, Kimi's nails tapped rhythmically against her tray. Her group sat stiffly, watching her. "She thinks she's clever," Kimi muttered. "Let's see if she's still so brave after today." That afternoon, as Sophia walked toward her last class of the day, she felt it. A shift in the air, a quiet anticipation. She had just stepped into the courtyard when splash. Cold water poured over her head, soaking her completely. Gasps and laughter erupted around her. Sophia froze, her uniform dripping, her books ruined. Then laughter, louder, crueler. She turned slowly, already knowing who was behind it. Kimi. She stood a few feet away, lowering an empty water bottle, a mocking grin on her face. "Oops," Kimi said sweetly. "Didn't see you there." More laughter. Sophia's fingers curled into fists. Every part of her wanted to fight back, to scream, to wipe that smirk off Kimi's face. But she knew that's what Kimi wanted. So instead, she wiped her face, lifted her chin, and walked away. The laughter followed her all the way down the hall. Sophia could handle whispers. She could handle stares. But as she stepped into the empty restroom and caught her reflection, her uniform drenched, her books destroyed, she realized something. This wasn't just bullying. This was war. And Kimi had just made her first move. The next day, Sophia arrived at school expecting more humiliation, but instead, something even stranger happened. Kimi invited her to a party. A real invitation. Handwritten, signed. Sophia frowned as she stared at it. Why? That afternoon, Aisha, the only person who had been somewhat kind to Sophia, hurried to her side. "You're not actually going, are you?" she asked, wide-eyed. Sophia hesitated. "I don't know. Maybe." Aisha shook her head. "It's a trap, Sophia. Kimi doesn't just stop." Sophia bit her lip. If she didn't go, Kimi would win. If she did go. Before she could decide, a new message popped up on her phone. "Unknown number. Can't wait to see you tonight." That night, the Daramola mansion stood behind tall gates, glowing under golden lights. Luxury cars lined the driveway. Sophia stepped inside, her heart pounding. The music was loud. People laughed, danced, and took pictures. Then she felt it, eyes watching her, and then Kimi appeared, smiling. "You made it," she said sweetly. "Tonight's special. I wanted you to be part of it." Something was wrong, deeply wrong. Then someone called out, "Everyone, gather around, we have a surprise." The music lowered, conversations hushed, and the room shifted. All eyes turned to Sophia. Sophia's stomach tightened. Something wasn't right. She could feel it, the smiles, the whispers, the way Kimi's gaze never left her. She had just walked into a trap. Sophia felt her pulse quicken as the crowd gathered closer. The way they smiled, too wide, too expectant, sent a chill down her spine. Then Trina, one of Kimi's closest friends, stepped forward, holding a large gift-wrapped box. She grinned as she set it on the center table. "Sophia, open it. It's from all of us." Laughter rippled through the room, soft at first, then growing louder. Sophia's stomach twisted. This was a setup. Every fiber of her being told her to walk away, but she knew if she did, they'd call her a coward. So, with shaky fingers, she pulled off the lid. Her breath caught. Inside the box was a pile of second-hand clothes, old textbooks, and a nearly empty bottle of cheap perfume. And on top of it all, a crumpled envelope of cash. Her cash, the same envelope she had thrown away days ago. A note sat neatly on top. "Since you didn't take this before, you clearly need it." The room exploded with laughter. Sophia felt the world tilt. Kimi, standing nearby, smiled victoriously. "See, we can be generous." Tears burned behind Sophia's eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She would not give them the satisfaction. With trembling hands, she grabbed the box, flipped it over, and sent its contents crashing to the floor. Gasps filled the room. Sophia turned on her heels and shoved her way through the crowd, ignoring the flashing phones and the mocking voices calling after her. Sophia barely made it out of the house before the first tear fell. But as she ran down the street, one thought burned in her mind. They wanted to break her, but she wasn't broken yet. Sophia didn't go to school the next day, or the day after that. She spent those days in her tiny bedroom, staring at the ceiling, replaying the humiliation in her head. Her mother asked if she was okay. She lied. Her phone buzzed with messages from Aisha. She ignored them. Until finally, there was a knock at the door. Sophia opened it to find Aisha standing there, guilt written all over her face. "Sophia, I'm so sorry." Sophia's arms stayed crossed. For what? Watching and doing nothing? Aisha flinched. "I was scared. But you were right. I should have stood up for you." Silence hung between them. Then Aisha took a deep breath. "Let's make it right. Let's fight back." Sophia blinked. "How?" Aisha pulled out her phone. "I recorded everything, every word Kimi said. We can expose her." Sophia hesitated. She had spent so long just trying to survive. But now, maybe it was time to fight. Sophia stared at the phone, her heartbeat quickening. And then finally she spoke. "Let's do it." The next day, Sophia and Aisha waited. They knew Kimi wasn't done. She never lost. Sure enough, by lunch, a scream rang out in the cafeteria. "My bracelet! Someone stole my diamond bracelet!" The room went silent. Kimi stood in the middle of the cafeteria, her face twisted in fake horror. Then slowly she turned toward Sophia. "You were near my bag, weren't you?" A hush fell over the crowd. Sophia's breath caught. She had walked straight into Kimi's trap. The teacher arrived, demanding that Sophia's bag be searched. Sophia clenched her fists. If Kimi planted something, she was finished. But before the teacher could open her bag, Aisha stepped forward. "Wait." Kimi's expression flickered. "What now?" Aisha held up her phone. "I have proof this is a setup." Then she pressed play. Kimi's voice rang out through the cafeteria. "By lunchtime it'll be stolen, and guess who's going to take the fall?" Gasps erupted. Kimi's face drained of color. Sophia stood tall as Kimi stumbled backward, her world crumbling. But this wasn't over. Not yet. The cafeteria erupted into murmurs. Students exchanged glances, whispering in disbelief. Some gasped. Others stared at Kimi, watching as her usually confident face twisted with panic. The teacher turned slowly toward her. "Kimi, is this true?" Kimi opened her mouth, then closed it. For the first time, she had no words. Sophia watched as Kimi's chest rose and fell in sharp, panicked breaths. This was the first time she'd ever lost. Aisha crossed her arms. "Well, Kimi, Any more lies? Kimi's friends slowly edged away from her. Some whispered, others avoided eye contact. Then the doors swung open. The principal entered. His sharp gaze swept the room. "Miss Daramola, my office. Now." Kimi flinched. Her hands trembled as she grabbed her bag, her jaw clenched as she walked stiffly toward the exit. But just as she passed Sophia, she paused. Then, in a low voice, she hissed, "This isn't over." Sophia exhaled as Kimi walked away, but she knew the truth. Kimi wasn't the type to go down quietly. The next morning, Oceanview International College was buzzing with rumors. The unthinkable had happened. Kimi was suspended indefinitely. Her father, Chief Daramola, one of the school's biggest donors, had stormed into the principal's office demanding they drop the charges. But the evidence was too strong. The school board had no choice. Kimi was officially expelled. Sophia sat in class feeling the shift. No more whispers, no more snickers. Some students even smiled at her. It felt strange. Then, at lunch, Aisha nudged her. "Look." Sophia followed her gaze to the front entrance. Kimi stood there, her last day. She looked different. No power, no crowd, no confidence. Her father stood beside her, furious. The once mighty businessman now looked like a man who had lost everything. As Kimi turned to leave, she paused one last time. Her eyes met Sophia's. Then, without a word, she turned and walked away. Sophia exhaled. Kimi was gone. The war was over, but in the back of her mind, she couldn't help but wonder. For how long? The first day without Kimi felt strange. For the first time, Sophia walked through the hallways without feeling watched, judged, or mocked. She wasn't invisible anymore. As she grabbed her books from her locker, a familiar voice spoke. "Hey, Sophia." She turned to see Trina. For the first time, there was no sneer, no fake smile, just quiet regret. "I should have stopped her, I'm sorry." Sophia searched her face but saw no lies. Finally, she nodded. "Thanks." As she walked toward class, Aisha fell into step beside her. "How does it feel?" Sophia thought for a moment. Then she smiled. "It feels like I won." Kimi had made a bet that Sophia would break, but instead, Sophia had won the game. I hope this story reminds everyone that you are stronger than you think. Bullies want you to feel small, to question yourself, and to break. Bullies attack because they want control, not because there's something wrong with you. Their words and actions say more about them than they do about you. Remember, their opinion does not define your worth. Prove them wrong by thriving, by staying true to yourself, and by using every challenge as fuel for growth. The moment you decide not to let their words control you, you win. Keep rising, keep shining, and never, ever break.